Gentlemen, talk to me about what you noticed from the defense yesterday.
Well, I think just asking you guys, what was the most impressive part about yesterday for you?
I think you got to start with, for me, it was the pass rush of Byron Young. Seeing him get after the quarterback, I think he ended up with 4 sacks. I checked the stats on that. But seeing what he was able to do, it's going to be huge coming up with this Alabama game this week when you've got, whether you got Bryce Young or you've got the other guy in there that runs the ball all the time, he's going to be your most important player on defense this week. And he's hitting his stride right now, having a great season, looks like an All-American.
I agree with you on that, but I'm going to go more with what our defensive backs did. You're talking about 2 weeks ago, we struggled, and I think everybody saw that. We couldn't stop them third down. Guys was running wide open. Here's the reason why I was impressed with them. Yesterday, they made it a point, LSU-wise, to get the receivers involved with the ball game, Butte in particular. And so they made it a point, and I mean those guys could not get open. Those guys could not get going the way they wanted to. And I think when you look at it like that, I think everybody can tell that there's something going on in LSU's offense where the receivers are not connecting with the quarterback. Yeah. They talked about a meeting that was had where the quarterback, brought all the receivers in and said, hey, I've got to do a better job. So keeping that as the focus, I was expecting Butte to probably go and have his best game of the entire season. But, heck, I think he got a touchdown in garbage minutes.
Yep.
So for those guys to do better on the back end, knowing when to punch for the ball and when to get the guy on the ground, that was huge for me. That was a big turning point in our defense.
I think for me, just personally, what's been the biggest thing for this team this year is just how well they've done stopping the run, especially inside the tackles. Yeah. I mean, that's been huge. I mean, because in this game, we all know that against Tennessee, any team wants to do is how to control the clock and limit the possessions of the UT offense and get a few points ahead, and that's what I'm going to do. But right now to this point, that hasn't been able to happen. We're better at short yardage right now. 4th and 1, 4th and 2 is much better than 4th and 9 or 3rd and 9. So it's been impressive in this that they've been able to do that. I do think, like you were talking about on the pass rush, it was a great day. The only problem is most of that came from that left side. And so I'm always sitting there going, with that LSU left side being out, are we going to get the same consistent pass rush against a team with their first string guys in? They've been doing well, and they get a lot of their pass rush from the the tackle TE games.
Yeah.
That's where they've been getting it from. I still would like to see them to be able to get off one-on-one without a game, but that can happen there.
Well, what you're talking about there, they got to be able to get off, and you have your run defense, which is your typical. They line up in I formation, they run the football. Where Tennessee's going to have a challenge this week is the running quarterback. That is a form of a run offense that Alabama's going to have. And when you look at what LSU did, they had 72 yards at the quarterback position, 70 of which came after contact. Yeah. And so you got to have someone else other than Young to step up.
And I tell you this, I'm glad you brought that up. Beasley led the squad yesterday in tackles, right? So that gives me a little bit more confidence against a running quarterback. First of all, we've seen it now twice. And on top of that, you've got another guy besides Jeremy Banks that's stepping up and having a better season than Jeremy Banks is right now. Yep. So I like that parity.
John, back to you, man.
And Will just learned the difficulty of being a producer while on set. You're trying to give a rap, and the other guys just don't rap. Now you know. Now you know. Hey, this is one reason that we talked about this a little last week during our Open Date show, how you're going to have a defense when you're paired with one of these speeded up offenses. So I did some numbers this week. Take a look at this. I went back and looked at all of the games from last year and all the games so far this year, not including yesterday. So you're talking 16 to 20 games for everybody out there across the SEC. I added up their snaps. I added up their total time of possession. I divided one into the other to see the fastest offense. And then I wanted to see what kind of defense do they have over that time, over that year and a half. Tennessee's the fastest offense in the league over that time. They snapped the ball once every 20.2 seconds in the last 2 years. They have the 13th best defense. The other fastest offense, Ole Miss is number 2, their defense, number 11. Arkansas's offense snaps it every 24.8 seconds over the last 2 years. They're 10th in defense. Meanwhile, other end of the spectrum, the slowest offenses in the SEC, the number 4 defense, the number 7 defense, the number 1 defense, and Kentucky, which runs a glacial offense. Man, Stoops is conservative. That's the number 3 defense. So I think as long as you're running this kind of offense, you've got to expect the defense is going to struggle a little bit. Same with Ole Miss, same with Arkansas. That's over a 2-year span, so that's not just a 5-week deal here so far. But that's why I think that a defensive performance like that yesterday wasn't perfect. You want to obviously have a few more playmakers in your secondary. You want to do better on 3rd and long. But that's one where you have to look at it and say, they did what they had to do, and what's the main number? 13 points. So good day for the defense overall, in my opinion.